Hello everyone, welcome back on our Python journey. Today is day 13 and in this video we are going to discuss scopes and take a look at modules as well, play around with modules. So we have two types of scopes. We have the local and global scope, and before we jump into that, let's first of all understand what scopes are. Now, scope or scopes basically refer to the position of a variable in our program. And we have two types of position. We have the global and the local one. Now, this position can determine whether or not we can access a particular variable from a certain position in our program. So the local one, let's first of all talk about the global one. The global scope is the position of a variable in the body of our program. So it's not sitting inside anything like a function, whereas the local scope is the position of a variable within a function, right? So the global scope, basically any variable living in the global scope can be accessed from anywhere in the program, but when a variable is within the local scope, you cannot access it. So let's test our theory to see, whether it is true or not. Well, let me give you a hint. It is true. All right, so let's start with the global scope. So we said global scope is any variable sitting within the body of our program. So any variable we create right now will automatically be in the global scope and can be accessed from anywhere. So I can call this variable, let's say, let me just call it first, and then just set it to a string called var1. I think I should change this to var1 instead. Just put var1 like this, and then create another function called local var like this, and then so I will just say I'll create another one var2 here. I call this one var2, and then another one. So I'll try to access this var1 within the function like this. So whenever we call this function, I'll also print var2 here, print var2 like this. Okay, so first of all, let's try to print the var1. If we write print var1 here like this and run this program, you see that var1 is printed in the terminal. But when we run, so let's try and run this function here. So let's call the function. It's called local var here like this. I'll comment out this var1 here so that we can see the difference clearly. So when we run this program here, we can see we have var1 and var2. var1 is was created outside the function, but var2 is created within the function. So let's see if we can access var2 outside the function. So let's say print var2. Now you can see our ID is basically telling us that there is something wrong here. That's why it is underlined with this red color there. So let's run it. So now it says name var2 is not defined. Did you mean var1? Now what this basically means is that, so you can see the error is traced back. So yes, it's a name error. Sorry, it's a name error. So basically our program is not aware of this var2 because it is in the local space, right? Whereas the var1 can be accessed from anywhere in our program. Now, one thing that you should be aware of is that local variables only apply to to functions. Yeah, so local scope only apply to functions. So if you have a function in a loop, that function will always, exist. So let me just create a while loop here. While, let me just say while true like this. I'll break out of the loop on the first trial. I'll call this var3 here, and then just put var3 here, then just break out of the loop. So I'll say print var3 in the loop. So var3 here like this. I'll comment out this one because it gave us an error. Comment out this. So let's run our program again. Now you can see var3 is printed here, but when we try to access var3 outside the function, outside the the loop, because we created it inside the loop. So let's see whether that is possible. You can see we don't have any errors here. So when we run this program, it is successful. So that's it basically for scopes in Python, which is really easy to understand. Now, the next one we are going to talk about is modules. Now, what are modules? Modules are like, small programs that are packed in packages. Let's put it that way. So they are bundled up and then, exist somewhere in the Python language. So we have two types of, modules, but we are going to look at the first one. Now, modules are like, we are going to look at the built-in ones. Modules are like, built-in functions, right? But then they are slightly different because, to be able to use a module, you need to bring it into your program by using the import keyword. But with the built-in function, they just exist there and then you just use them right away, like the way we use the print, the print function to print stuff into the terminal. So let's take a look at a module. I'll comment out this code here like this. Actually, let me just start it here. So I'll use this one as my module one here. So to use a module, we have different types of module. I've actually, you don't need to memorize these things. So when you need them, you just search if there is a module like that in Python that you can use for your problem. So first of all, I'll use a maths module, mathematic module. So it's math. So to use a module, you just type import then math like this. Now on this module we have different functions. So again, to access a function from a module, you use the dot notation. And to know what kind of functions exist on a module, just dir. So I'll print dir and then pass in the module's name, so math like this. When we run this function, now you can see all the function that exists on the math module, which is really nice. Let's take a look at one. Okay, let me use the cost module. So I will do a basic operation here, print math like this dot cost. Cost will return the cosinus, right, of a number. I know the cosinus of 90 is 0. So let's take a look at it. Let's, run this here. Wow, it's giving us -0. I did not know that. I thought it was 0. Well, you can also, change this to an absolute value to, round it up and then have a, positive number and so on. So there are different types of modules. There are modules for finding random numbers. So I'll put import random here like this, and then let's see, print random numbers between. So random, I think you can do random. Do random dots? Okay, you just put random and then put the numbers. So do 1 and random numbers between 1 and 5 like this. So let's take a look at that. Oh, we have an error here. It says module is not callable. Why is that? First of all, so this is how you do stuff. You try to debug. So dir the random number here. Let's run this. Well. Okay, so you use the random has a random. Wow. Okay. Random dot random. That is weird. Takes no argument. Oh, okay. So this will basically, give us random numbers. Nice. So random numbers, you see the value changes every time we run this function. I actually think math has a random. Is there a rand? I think rand like this. No, there's no rand. All right. So enough of built-in modules. Hello guys. So this is how you find the random number between any two numbers, and in our case we're trying to find the random numbers between 1 and 5. So what you do is use the random module. You import the random module, and then you access the randint function on this module here. So when we run this code, you can see 4 is printed in the terminal. When we run it again, you can see the values change each time we click on the run button, which is really awesome. Thank you. Let's take a look at how we can build our own modules. Now, let me give you a case where you might need to, build your own module to use in your program. Let's say, for instance, you are building, you are working on a piece of program that works with a network. So you want to gather all your function for that particular program in a different file, to only handle network requests, and then import them where you want to use the functions. I don't know if that really if that made any sense. So let's take a look at how you can build your own function. So your own modules, sorry. So I'll create a new file here. So this is where we'll put all our all our functions that we'll be using in our program. So let's see. Yeah, I'll create a let's see, mod. Okay, there we go. This mod import here like this. Let me just call it mod import, just like that. And then here is where we'll import the module. So I'll create a basic function, say define addition. Let me just put it like this, and then set it to accept two arguments, A and B, and simply return A plus B like this, right? So this is what our function will return for us. Then to use that function, so we can now use that function within our program here, within our mod file here. So same way we imported other functions, we can also do that here. So just say import. Now this time around, you don't specify what you want to import, so just import the mod import like this, which is the file's name without the py extension, the .py. So you just put it that way, and then we want to use the add function, right? So what you do is to just use it. So let's print the value out. So mod import dot addition, that sets 2 parameters. I'll just put 2 and 3. This will give us 5. When we run this function, now we can see 5 is printed in the terminal, which is awesome. So you can, create many, variables, functions, and let me call this subtract. Sorry. Yeah, that's how you write subtract. So subtract, you put A and B, right? And then, so let's say return A minus B. So we assume A will be, let's be the bigger one, but I'll show you something quickly. So we did the addition here. Let's try and do the multiplication. So I can duplicate this. I actually found a way to duplicate, so it's Control D in PyCharm. Instead of doing addition, we can subtract. Now we said A minus B, right? So we assume A will always be, the bigger one. But when we run this function now, you can see we have 1. But in the case where A, so we always want our we always want our function to, return a positive number. So when we run this, we'll get a negative number. So how do we solve this? Well, we can use something called keyword argument, which is like telling our program, specifying where we are passing a particular argument, the name of an argument, sorry. So if we want this 2 to be B, you can put 2 is equal to B and then A is equal to 3. So when we run this function again, now you can see our value is now 1, which is really awesome. So that is like a brief, insight on keyword arguments. And basically, that's all we need to know about modules and scopes in Python. So thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.